Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiffani Beaston from Beauty and the Beastons, and I upload every Tuesday and Friday in January. Today's video, we are doing a high protein meal prep with delicious and real ingredients. I'm a mom of 4, I'm 36 years old, and I just try to be as healthy as I can while making food that still tastes really good. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a couple of breakfast options, some lunch and dinner options, as well as snack options and things for the entire family. The whole purpose of today's video is to show you healthy meal prep for busy families. Although initially meal prep does take some time, I'll show you how I went ahead and planned what I wanted to make and how I organized it so that I could be as efficient as possible and get things done quicker. We have sports a couple of nights a week as well as dance. So taking the time out to prep definitely helps keep us on track and helps us from ordering out last minute. And it's honestly just easier if you can make the time to do it. You know exactly what you're putting into your body. I have Hashimoto's thyroid disease. I'm gluten-free because of that. So everything that you'll see in today's video is naturally gluten-free. Everything is still delicious, I promise. And if I use anything, I don't even think I use anything. Let's say if I use any gluten-free flour, you could always substitute it for real flour, but there's nothing that requires flour in today's video. So stay tuned if you're interested. All of these meals are so good, and I can't wait to show you how to make them. So before we get into today's video, I did go ahead and order groceries last night, and I did a little haul to show you specifically what I got for today's video. So I'm going to insert that right here. All right, so first up we have our dairy products. Not everything is being used in this specific video. I did get almond milk for when I make my chia seed pudding. I don't make in this video. And then I just get some Wickos yogurt that I like for snacks. Everything else will be used in the video, as well as these are like all of our proteins. We got eggs we'll be using in the video. We'll be using all of the meat in the video except the honey turkey lunch meat, which we do use as like a snack sometimes or for the kids' lunch boxes. And then here are all of our fresh ingredients, our produce that we will be using all of this in today's video, whether that's just a prep or using in recipes as well. And next up we have all of our like pantry style items like different oat flour and oats. We have different dressings, our chocolate chips, and some honey, just other things that we'll be using in today's recipes. I also wound up making chicken noodle soup, which chicken ramen noodle soup that my kids loved last night, as well as salmon bites for myself and my one daughter. So I did also record that last night just to give you extra ideas, but I will throw that in at the end of this video. So I went ahead and just organized out what I wanted to make for the week, as well as, what I'm going to chop, what's going in the crock pot, what needs to be in the air fryer, what needs to be roasted in the rice cooker, stovetop, bake, and mix. Again, doing this ahead of time, like the night before, just makes it so much easier instead of being all over the place in the kitchen. And then I made a plan, so like the order that I'm going to do everything in. So again, taking the time out initially just makes it so much easier to stay on track. So as you can see, I already went ahead and washed all of our produce for today. And the first thing we're doing right now is marinating our chicken breasts because we're going to cook these at the end. I want to give them some time to marinate, so that's why I put this first. Technically, I could have did it last night, but I was busy with other tasks. You know I love a gadget. This little thing, so affordable. I have a whole Amazon storefront. If you see anything in my videos that you want, I try to keep it organized, but this little thing really does help. It just helps keep bags open, and it's great for doing like freezer meal prep or whatever you're doing. So anyway, putting 3 chicken breasts in here. No, I don't wash my chicken breast. You will not catch me washing my chicken breast. Google it. Don't wash your chicken breast. Or if you want to, you do you. Another thing I really try to do in my meal preps is just clean as I go, because that's the last thing I want is a hot mess, especially because I'm usually still going while my kids, when they go home from school. So anyway, right now I'm doing 1/4 cup of olive oil into our chicken breast bag. I might have said olive oil, I don't remember, but if I did, it's avocado oil. So 1/4 cup of avocado oil, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, I feel like I should mention it's 1 o'clock right now, so let's see just how long this takes us. I'm doing a big pinch of salt, and I use Celtic sea salt. I'm also going to be using the juice of 1 lime. I don't know if you saw this, but I kind of like roll it just to help get the juices out before I cut it. This really does make a difference. Like, it really does. My oldest son is 9 and he is obsessed with Chipotle. So is my husband, honestly. I used to like it until I found a rock in my Chipotle bowl and then I was done. So anyway, I have tried many recipes that mimic Chipotle chicken burrito bowl. So that's what I'm going for today. Next, we're doing 3 Chipotle chilies in adobo sauce. If you want it not as spicy, you would use less. I feel like this is like kind of like a good in-between. And honestly, my kids love spice. And then also, if you do have some of the oil in here, I would use at least like a tablespoon and a half of the oil that's in here because it has a really good flavor to it as well. So if you're new here, I do eat high protein and I do track macros in the First Form app. It has been what works best for me because I like to eat what I want. So when you're counting your macros, you can kind of play macro Tetris, as we call it, and eat what you want as long as you're in the range that you're supposed to be in. And that range is based on your height and your weight, all that. So if you are on First Form, I am going to have these recipes up on my website with a link that you can put your macros straight into First Form. And if you're not and you're interested, I will have all the information down below on how to join First Form. Let's clean up my cutting board a little bit. I also 1000% have ADD and I need things around me to be clean and organized in order for me to concentrate. So just gonna kind of mix that all together and let this marinate in the fridge. Super simple. I have another line for when we go ahead and finish out our Chipotle bowls and do like cilantro lime rice like Chipotle does. This would obviously be even better if you can marinate it for at least 24 hours. Marinate chicken. Now I'm just going to throw our rice in the rice cooker. I already rinsed I'm using jasmine rice because that's what I have. I already rinsed that and now I have 1 3/4 cups of kettle and fire bone broth. I love this because it's just an added flavor but also added protein. There's a lot of protein in this. Also, if you hear like a weird flickering noise, it is so windy out, so it's like making the vent hood on my cooktop like go crazy. I don't know if that's normal or not, but... And the reason I rinsed my rice is because the instructions said to. Like, if it didn't say to rinse your rice, I assume that it's a rinse. I don't know, but someone got mad at me in one of my last videos for not rinsing my rice, but this one told me to, so I did. Stir. All right, rice is in. And just to like update you, it's been 10 minutes, but also think about washing dishes and moving the camera around. All right, next up, I'm getting out my air fryer and my crock pot. My mother-in-law was just here. She was laughing at all of the gadgets that we have. She was like, I have one thing, you know, like I don't have a rice cooker, I don't have an air fryer, I don't have a crock pot. And you know me, I love my gadgets and I love all my cooking things. We use all of them, honestly. Air fryer. I love these little liners because we don't want any PFAs in our life. Crockpot. I'm just putting some sausage in for our meal prep. This is our favorite. It's the Applegate chicken and maple. So the way that I'm doing things isn't necessarily like in order of recipes. It's how I'm cooking a lot of things at once. But don't worry, I will have everything written out on my website, or you can just follow along this video. But I'm gonna make some of these. I just like cooking these in the air fryer. It's easier. They come out good. I like it better in there than the pan. Okay, next up on our list is to start our ramen. We're making beef and ramen noodles in the crock pot. So since it takes a while, I want to get this in first before we start doing anything else. Ramen and crock pot. So for the beef ramen, I'm just using this. It's 100% grass-fed beef. I tried to get whatever leanest version that they had. So we're just gonna cook this up with some salt and pepper before we put it in the crock pot. Can't tell, I like using avocado oil for everything. And I'm just going to season this with one of my favorite seasonings, which is Kinder's The Blend. It's salt, pepper, and garlic, and it's organic. The reason I tell you that is because I got a similar blend, and it had a bunch of random seed oils in it, and I was not happy about that. So check your spices, y'all. Seed oils cause a lot of inflammation. So while my beef's up, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up these 2 red peppers. as well as some scallion for the Crockpot recipe. Just give it a quick stir. For our scallion. One of the things I love about scallion, if you don't know this, is if you still have the root here, or even if you don't, if it's still together, you don't necessarily need the roots to be coming out. Put it in water, they will regrow, and you just keep on having scallions. So after we get this thrown in the crock pot, we're gonna start just chopping up everything for the rest of our meal prep. I just wanted to get the things going that took longer first. That was my whole mindset behind this. All right, that is cooked. Time check, it's 1:22. So if you have a bunch of oil, you're gonna wanna drain that. Like if this was a less fat, but I'm still using this type of spatula to get some oil out. So we're just gonna add our 1.5 red peppers to this, scallion, and we'll do more scallion at the end to top it when it's all finished. And then now I need to make the sauce for this. Before we get started on the sauce, I'm gonna add some matchstick carrots to this as well. And our sausage is done, so I'm gonna take that out. Carrots are in. I'm gonna go ahead and throw something else in here in just a second, but I'm glad that is done out of the way. Okay, so for our sauce, since I had some of that bone broth left over that we used, I did 1 cup of beef bone broth and then 2 cups of chicken broth. And now I'm just gonna add in 1/4 cup of coconut. Liquid amino is my favorite. It has like a really sweet taste to it. It is different from regular liquid aminos. It has to be coconut liquid aminos for it to have that sweet taste to it. And then now we're just gonna do our garlic cloves. I'm doing, let's see how much this makes, but I would say 4 to 5 garlic cloves. Some of my garlic cloves are really small, so I wound up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if you have like nice big garlic cloves, I think 3 to 4 would be good. Can you give that a quick stir? Now I'm just doing 2 tablespoons of organic raw honey. And that is our sauce. So I've been getting a lot of blood work done and just like trying to figure out some things with my health. And one thing is that my calcium was kind of messed up. And what's funny is that my doctor, I did like cut out like dairy for a little bit, so I'm wondering if that's why like I'm back on dairy and cottage cheese and all that. But I'm gonna say yogurt and cottage cheese and like all of those high protein snacks that I enjoy. I am back on that, so I wonder if that messed with it a little bit, but my functional doctor told me to eat more sesame seeds, and that is exactly what my husband is allergic to, but I will be adding that to my own meal. I'm gonna be making this yummy sesame cucumber side, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna go ahead and pour this and then start our crock pot. And then we're gonna cook this on low for 4 to 6 hours, so we'll see. I feel like it'll be perfect by 4 hours, but I'm just gonna set it for 6 for now, since our beef is already cooked. It's basically just getting all the flavors and cooking the veggies, and towards the end is when we'll add in our ramen. It's 136 and it's 30 degrees. How disgusting. When is summer coming? All right, quick little reset here to stay on track and not have everything be a hot mess. All right, took a little break to get some water and change out my battery. It's 148. The next thing we're putting in the air fryer are these Bell & Evans chicken tenders. They are gluten-free. You can use whatever type of chicken tenders you want, but these are going to be for later for our chicken barbecue ranch bowls. Yum. I'll throw those right on the parchment paper. Just going to make the whole box, which is 6 tenders. Air fry those in 400. Our rice just beeped. I'm gonna throw this away, wash this, put the lid on this, and we're gonna take it out because I don't want it to cook any further. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that into a bowl. And I was gonna make quinoa after, but then I realized that my quinoa was expired, so we're just going with rice today. I haven't had quinoa in a really long time, but I do want to add that back into the rotation because it's so good for you. This is not going to look like Chipotle rice because it's cooked in beef broth for the added nutritional benefit, but I'll clean this up, put this away, and then we're going to get to chopping. All right, it's 1:56. Let's get to chopping. First, I'm going to do our cucumbers. I love this thing. The only thing is that this bowl, it looks really like they're having a meh day. I'll show you in a second. Go in, little cucumber. Okay, so you saw me cut up a bunch of the cucumbers. That's for our sesame cucumber salad. And then I also just did a cucumber to keep in the fridge because I like to put them in the kids' lunches or add to salads. And then we're also just cutting up all of our russet potatoes. I'm doing some this way. I've just really been liking them this way when I do like different types of bowls that we're eating. You know, I just basically try to add like when I'm doing like a carb, adding it to a meal. I try to do either like something real like a potato or a sweet potato or rice rather than like chips or something like that. So real ingredients is what we're focused on. We can season them up really well and make them taste delicious. So I try to use, you know, lots of garlic, onion, salt, pepper. All of that gives a lot of flavor. Also, this chopper is amazing. It literally took barely any time to chop all of these potatoes. And this is, again, to have in our Big Mac bowls as well as with scrambled eggs in the morning. Okay, before we move on, I am just soaking these potatoes because it helps get some of the starches out and it helps them cook up better. Plus, russet potatoes are just super dirty no matter how much you wash them. Continuing on with our chopping, I'm doing as many tomatoes in here as I can because it's so easy. And then I'll just drain all the juices out. If you were making like a salsa or something, I could see keeping the juices, but we don't need that. This is just a topping for our burger bowls as well as if we want it in a salad. All right, getting out our baking sheet for our diced tomatoes. The more circular potatoes were, did I say tomatoes? I'm gonna roast up our potatoes. The ones that I diced, the ones that were rounded are for our Big Mac casserole. So stay tuned, that sounds so good. But first I wanna get these on the pan because I need what they're soaking in. So I'm gonna drain them first. Just gonna put these on our baking sheet. And this is gonna be like for hash brown for our breakfast. It could be just a side for anything. I'm just going to spray it with some olive oil and put lots of salt, pepper, and garlic. But you guys, if you don't have this thing, this is the OXO brand. I've tried plenty of these in the past, but I love the OXO brand one of this. Like, it's legit. It took me like 3 minutes to cut up that many potatoes. Like, that's insane. The blend. Extra little dash of salt, because potatoes with no salt, no thank you. Mix that up. Sweet potatoes are so much harder than regular potatoes that I feel like this doesn't always work the best, but I'm gonna try again today. I feel like last time I was like really having to slam it down. It's my hand's gonna be a little sore, but it's worth it. Working pretty good. You gotta hit the black part, not the clear part. What's great is that they're mostly uniform size so that they cook up at the same rate. Plus just saves us a lot of time from cutting. Is my baby home? Hi! How was school today? Did you have a good day? I missed you. My baby.
What are you doing?
I'm working, see? Say hi.
Hello.
So we are popping these in the oven on 425 degrees, 248, but we're getting there. Done a lot, cooked a lot, and took some breaks. And Everly is home from school now, so we might be switching over to solely voiceover, for example. What was that? All right, on to more cutting. I am just cutting up some peppers. Look, I swear all of my peppers are pregnant right now. What is going on? It must be pepper mating season. I'm totally just kidding, but they all do have these inside of them, so who knows. Anyway, just chopping a bunch of these up. These specifically are for our chicken cheesesteaks, but I will, when I get groceries, prep a lot of peppers like this because my kids love them as a snack with ranch dressing or, again, in their lunch boxes. And then when you're meal prepping and you're planning out your meals, try to see how much of each ingredient you'll need. So I know that I need onions for a bunch of different things. I need it for our chicken salad. I need it for our burger bowls. So I'm just cutting up a bunch of yellow onion. And we also are doing chipotle chicken bowls. So a lot of times you'll use red onion, but I didn't have any, so I'm just using yellow onion for everything today. So I'm cutting up celery to go with our chicken cheesesteaks as we're, wanting to dip in celery with it because I'm not personally putting it on like a wrap or bread or anything. Chris may do like a chicken cheesesteak wrap, but I'm not. I like to dip like celery and stuff in it. I'm also using this celery as well as these massive grapes for my chicken salad that we'll be making in a little bit as well. I love like a simple chicken salad, especially if it has like just a little bit of onion and pepper. I love grapes in it. Sometimes I'll do craisins or walnuts, but look how giant these grapes are. Next up, I am chopping up my scallions. Sometimes if you don't want to do a full meal prep, you can just do an ingredient prep like this. So prep all of the ingredients and then just have them ready for the week. Sometimes if I am making dinner, which I haven't had to do since this meal prep, we've had a couple of nights off of cooking dinner because we've been using the meal prep for lunch and dinner. But I will just around like nap time or around sometime in the afternoon, I will prep ingredients for dinner because the mad rush after school is just intense. Also, I'm just like prepping a bunch of lettuce for the week instead of buying the nasty bag salads, which I do sometimes, but they go bad so fast. I feel like most of the time when I buy them, there's already like brown lettuce in there. But anyway, ingredient prepping whenever you can, whether that's the morning before work or whenever you can fit it in the night before, it does save time because dinner time is such a chaotic time as parents and there's just a lot going on. There's homework, there's sports, there's all of that. So we are getting ready to start basketball and soccer starting back up. So Tuesday through Wednesday, along with dance, we're not really home at night. So those are the nights that I'm really going to need this prep. All right, next up we're gonna be working on like the chicken cheesesteak, the burger bowls, and the chipotle bowls kind of simultaneously, like baking stuff on the cooktop basically. All right, while our potatoes are finishing up, I'm gonna get started on our buffalo chicken cheesesteak. So this is almost nice and warm. And then I just buy the shaved chicken. And I got 2 packs. Some garlic, pepper. All right, that's mostly cooked, so now we're adding in our onion and pepper. Now I'm just adding in a half a cup of buffalo sauce. All right, it's 4:30. We have a lot done already, but now we're working on our Big Mac casserole. Sounds so good, right? All right, that's getting nice and hot. I'm gonna cook our beef with 1 yellow onion. I did spray that already, yes. It's nice that everything is all cut up for us already. Garlic. I'm gonna throw our onion in. Hi, baby. What's up? What?
My pancakes go off.
What do you mean? Turn it off? Maybe it needs to charge or something? All right, time to assemble our Big Mac casserole. We're putting our potatoes in first. Now we're gonna top it with our beef and onion mixture. Now I'm doing a half cup of cheese. I'm using Colby Jack, that's what I had, but like a normal Big Mac would be like cheddar cheese. Now we're gonna cover this with foil and cook on 375 for 15 minutes. All right, I need to take a break because I'm starving. So here's the Big Mac bowl. I'm gonna top it with some lettuce and some tomato, and I'm gonna top with some special sauce and some pickles. All right, I have to be honest with you guys, these burger bowls are what I ate the most out of this meal prep, like before I ate anything else, because I was so obsessed with them. They are so good. But here's how we're looking right now with our prep so far, and this is how the beef ramen sauce, I guess, looks before you add the noodles. You're just going to add in 4 packs of ramen. I use the Lotus brand. You can get them at Costco, pretty much anywhere. If you're gluten-free, just make sure they are solely made out of rice, which most are. Just mix them in. I am putting them away. You can see they're just a little al dente. I'm putting them away like this because we're not eating them tonight, and they will go ahead and get softer in the broth. So that's why we're doing it that way. So that is done, and we're finally cooking our chicken that we marinated earlier. Just gonna let that cook through, and while we're doing that, we're gonna get our rice together, which we already cooked our rice, so we are just gonna be adding some cilantro, lime juice, and salt and pepper to that. So that is all prepped. We're moving on to our cucumbers, and my gosh, this is so good. I absolutely love this. I use coconut liquid aminos, some honey. We're also going to be adding in, of course, some salt and pepper, and the sesame seeds, which is my first time using these just because Chris and I have been together for almost 16 years now, and because he's allergic to it, I just never used them, but I do love the taste of sesame oil and sesame seeds. But this is so quick. It's such an easy and healthy side to have. It's very refreshing. I could also see, like, in the summer bringing this to a picnic. It's so good. It's like sweet, salty, and the sesame gives it that little bit of crunch. All right, this is just some quick bootleg salsa because it's not that fresh. It's like mixing fresh with, canned ingredients. So here we have our black beans, and we're adding in our yellow onion. You can add red onion or whatever type of onion you like. And then I'm also doing some frozen corn, basically whatever you like in your salsa. You know, Chipotle's corn salsa is the best, but I didn't have time to make like a fresh corn salsa, so that's why we're doing this, just mixing some ingredients with actual salsa to make it a little bit heartier, and again, just to have those fresh elements. So super simple and super fast, and this is going to go great with our Chipotle chicken bowls. So I did put the lid on the chicken and just let it rest for a while, and now I'm slicing that up. And since I don't have 5,000 meal prep containers, I am just putting all of this in one large prep container, which I feel like as a big family works out better than individual containers in some aspects. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Just putting it right on top of the rice. Gonna add some lime wedges in here and put that away until we are ready to eat it. Moving on to our chicken salad. I thought I had 2 cans of chicken, but I didn't. I do like to do an entire can. It's just 5 ounces of chicken based on my protein goals. And then I'm using the Primal avocado mayonnaise, just a tablespoon of that. So I did waste a container. Well, didn't put chicken in it. But I'm not a tuna fish girl. But if you are, you can, use tuna instead of chicken. You can use rotisserie chicken, you can use fresh chicken, but I happen to love the Wild Planet chicken that's in a can. It's so good and really easy. So moving on to some sweet dishes. This, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but this had me cracking up last night. I told Chris that I made cookie dough. I think he trusted me with this because I did recently make cookie dough filled dates topped with chocolate, which I have a short on if you're interested, but they are so good. I love it. You freeze them, and then I feel like the dates kind of resemble like a caramel or something. I don't know. They're very, very good. So he trusted me with that, and I let him eat like half of it before he discovered that they were made out of chickpeas, and he was like, wow, it is actually so good. You can't tell that it's chickpeas, but if I would have told him, hey, I have chickpea cookie dough, he'd be like, get out of here, I'm not touching that. But I can attest this was delicious. I had to like stop myself from eating it. So you just throw all of your ingredients into a food processor. Again, I'll have the recipe, so don't worry too much about that. You also have to plug your food processor in. But anyway, I tried to use a blender at first and it just wasn't working, so I had to use a food processor. But so good. At this point, the kids are asleep and I'm watching Virgin River on my little Alexa in the kitchen, and I'm feeling it. It's relaxed, making my favorite dishes, because one thing about me is that I love breakfast, I love snacks, and I love desserts. So I always focus on making those healthy and high protein, and then, try to do what I like for dinner. But knowing that I'm somebody that likes something sweet and I like snacks, I do focus on making healthy sweet dishes that contain just small amounts of like natural sugar. Like I'll either use like honey or maple syrup, but I try not to use too much. Like I don't use any white sugar, and when I have to use sugar, I use coconut sugar, which I've honestly been trying to limit that as well. Another thing that I absolutely love to make is any type of muffin, because there's so many healthy ingredients you can hide in there. I make spinach muffins for my kids a lot and they love those, but these are high protein chocolate peanut butter muffins and everybody loved them. They're so good, and I love how big they came out. I feel like a lot of times with gluten-free cooking, like things just like don't really puff up how they should, at least in my case, but these were awesome. I doubled the recipe so that I can make 24 muffins, and it's been really nice on school mornings. The kids will grab a muffin or they'll throw them in their lunch or just have them as snacks, and again, so good. I'm not somebody who loves to take a bunch of fake stuff. Like I love a protein smoothie, and when I do, I'll use Tiffani, or sometimes after my workouts, I'll use the Formula 1 salted peanut butter from First Form. But I try not to take like a bunch of protein powders in a day. Using a little bit of protein powder in my cooking though doesn't bother me, especially if it's like clean ingredients. So the two protein powders that you'll see me using in today's video is the vanilla, which is from Pro Mix. I always want to call it Pro Form because that's my treadmill, but it's Pro Mix. Madagascar vanilla, and that's what I used in our cookie dough as well. And then the Tiffani banana protein is what I used in this, and I love that one. The Tiffani banana is probably what I use the most in my smoothies. Alright, last but not least for this meal prep, before I show you the other recipes that I made the previous night for dinner, is another easy blender thing. These are cottage cheese pancakes. This is a new recipe that I'm using, and I'm using oat flour, which I love because there's lots of fiber. Oat flour is simply made from blending oats, but to save time, I just bought oat flour just to save myself a step. And I'm happy to say these are already gone. Chris loved them too, and it doesn't matter if you don't like cottage cheese. You cannot taste it in here, I promise you. It just gives it a higher protein content. So these were so good, and I'm definitely making them again, and I'll probably just double or triple the batch because it's only made 6 for me. But again, so delicious, and that is what I'm ending the meal prep on. And we're moving on to the meals that I made previously the night before. You have seen me make the chicken ramen soup. I've made it a million times, but if you haven't, I wanted to include it in here. The chicken ramen soup is a staple in my house, again, because everyone just loves it, but I do, if I'm like ahead of the game and like ingredient prepping, I will just go ahead and make the broth ahead of time and just add the noodles as needed, because my son Carter asked for this at least twice a week, and of course I'm not going to say no. It's made with all healthy and real ingredients. So just doing some celery. I already had carrot chopped up in the fridge, which again is so nice when you do ingredient prep like that. I'm adding a yellow onion. We also use some garlic, but it's so easy. Just saute your veggies first, and then one of the key elements to this is using bone broth because, like I said, it's such a high protein content, but also there's a lot of minerals in it. It's just very nourishing, and I love that I can get that into my kids. I will even just like warm it up and drink a cup of the Kettle and Fire hot bone broth. Once this all comes to a boil is when I add my ramen and my chicken if I'm not like using the chicken from scratch. But here's Carter helping because this is hands down his favorite meal. And another tip to save time is to buy cut up rotisserie chicken. I feel like I would rather do this than order him Panera soup that he likes. But anyway, I didn't feel like chicken noodle soup because you see we have it so often. I'm so sick of that soup. But hey, if they love it, that's fine. So I am making air fryer salmon bites for myself and Ella. And it's so simple. You just use honey. I'm using the coconut aminos and some garlic. And then I had frozen salmon that I had thawed out, and I'm just drying that and then seasoning it with Kinder's The Blend, cutting it up into pieces and putting that in the sauce. Of course, it's great if you can marinate it overnight or marinate it for a while, but again, I didn't have time for all that. But this is one of my favorite meals and Ella's favorite meals. Carter loves this as well. Everly and Tanner are not much into salmon lately, but that's fine. They still eat other types of seafood like shrimp and things like that. I didn't really like seafood until I started working at Bonefish when I was like 19 or 20. So now I love seafood. But anyway, this is how I'm making it on 400 degrees in the air fryer. It barely takes any time, and again, it's very nourishing. But I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to go to tiffanybeaston.com for recipes.